How much is not using AI costing your company per year? How much is not using AI adequately, effectively costing you as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, as someone who wants to get more corporate clients per year? You probably have not run the numbers, but you can look at data and statistics for that to show you how much companies are making that truly know how to evaluate AI and effectively use it in their firm. And here is just a little burst your bubble moment. These companies are not using AI to just write content. That's not the main benefit of AI. This is where I see a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of small businesses, and a lot of corporations go wrong. People think, okay, AI is just a ChatGPT prompt. I'm going to tell it to write this caption, and that's the fullness of my entire AI strategy. In this video, we're gonna break down the AI strategy for tiffygwrites.ai and how we work with businesses to implement that strategy. It's truly different from anything else out there. It mimics really what a true technology company that has venture capital funding gets and how they execute their campaigns, but applied to a small firm, a small business, because I understand that you don't have venture capital funding, even though a lot of my clients do. So this gives me a level of research ability and evaluation that I can then come and apply to you if you are willing to understand a couple things. Number one, the way most people are using AI is completely wrong. We do it for like cutesy tasks, like, hey, make my meal prep this week, or hey, write 20 captions that'll be catchy on Instagram, and then nobody signs up and you're like, hey, AI doesn't work. AI does work, but you're not being effective with how you use it. You're using it for things that are very mundane, very much admin-like, very much AI is not good at. One of AI's weakest points, actually, and you can go to Netflix, you can go to OpenAI, you can go to Claude yourself. In fact, maybe I'll pop them up on the screen right here along with some statistics, okay? But you can go to these companies, and these companies' websites, when you look at their jobs, they are hiring creative writers, content strategists. Now, if you are new to the Introvert Marketer podcast, hello, I'm Tiffany Garside. I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years and have collectively generated my clients $31.9 million in revenue to date, from healthcare to real estate to AI, tech companies, government contracts, all the things, okay? And listen, these companies, they are literally investing Netflix $700,000 into content strategy. Content strategy, the function and the basis of what a content strategy is creative writing. They are denotating $235,000, I believe that's Anthropic's number, for content writers. And so the next logical question has to be, okay, if AI is so great at writing, if that's the main function that I need AI for, why are tech companies and literal AI companies contracting with or hiring or vending through a marketing agency, a copywriter that they want to come in on a W-2, a content writer they want to come in on a 1099, and so. Like, why would they be investing that amount of money? Because I'll tell you, when I first started back in 2016, they did not used to pay that much, okay? Content writing, they would pay, you know, a good salary. You would get 50 an hour. That's like a good salary. But these companies are out here paying top dollar, buku bucks for writing, okay? It's nearly unbelievable, but it doesn't shock me, because as a writer, I've always known the value of strategic communications. Strategic communications is literally the difference between your business sinking in the next 6 months and flourishing in the next 12 to 18 months. All of my clients know this. This is why we work together for multiple years. This is why they come into VIP days for magnetic emails and AI consulting, so that we can look over their analytics, their dashboards, and create content that actually matches the analytics. So that's mistake number two. Mistake number two is that people don't understand that AI is best pattern recognition and analytics. And so you're like, okay, Tiffy, I don't know what that means. I don't know how to functionally place that in a business. I don't know even what to do in my business for that. Like, what does that mean? So when we're looking at data analysis, especially as marketers, as entrepreneurs, as people who are growing a business, we have to look at our top campaigns. That's data analysis, seeing, okay, where is the data taking me? What message is the people resonating with? And then how can we amplify that message to match what's happening in the market? That's data analysis too. We have to look at the economy. For example, we are clearly in World War III. Oil prices are surging. People will only buy from those that they know, like, and trust. But if you don't have an email list, if you don't have a sales page on your website, if your copy's just GPT generated, there's no true value, there's no true deeper emotional connection. This is why between our two brands, you will see me use a lot of childhood storytelling, use a lot of marriage storytelling, use a lot of pregnancy storytelling, use a lot of case study storytelling, use a lot of data and statistics, because this is just the foundation, the bare minimum of what's required to make sales in 2026. And you know what? If you are listening to this and you're like, sis, I need to get in your firm, I need you to apply all of that goodness from Tiffy G Writes to my business, to my firm, via a VIP day, a magnetic emails VIP day, where we also go over your analytics dashboard. One of my clients, Jessica, this still sticks out. It's so funny because we were in the VIP day. We were on Zoom for 3 hours, and she, like, I brought my entire curriculum. A lot of people don't know, with everything that I do in my business, I create and provide curriculum, okay? And so that's how you delight your clients and over deliver. So I bring out the curriculum, and she's just looking like, wow, you were so well prepared for this. And I broke it down like, yes, this is what corporations use. They're going to use a creative brief. They're going to use a branding guide so that when somebody comes into the business next, there's something to hand off, standard operating procedures that are focused on marketing operations. If you do not have that in your business, but you would like to, book your VIP day down below, www.tiffygwrites.ai. Now, the third mistake entrepreneurs, freelancers, corporations are making when people say they wasted money on AI, I just believe and know deeply. I deeply know, because after working with these tech companies that I'm telling you, their evaluations, they started with 10 million in venture capital funding and grew to 350 billion. I'm like, this is just crazy. So the stats are clear. If you were to take some of the top AI companies, and you may not know them, maybe I'll just drop them on the page here so that you can check their valuations and see what they're worth, see what they started with, and then see what they scaled to. It's out of this world crazy. So imagine you start to contract and corporate contract with these firms as a 1099 business owner. Imagine the results that you get for that client. It's insane. Like, it's literally unbelievable. This is what I love about tech contracting and software as a service. It's just one of those fields that is taking off to a degree right now that will propel you to the next, like, it's absolutely insane. I don't even have the words to describe it. But the third mistake that people make is that they think content marketing should stop at social media. We are not influencers over here. I don't know if you know that, but we are not influencers. We're not here to influence the people. We are here to make sales, period. We're here to make sales for tech companies. We're here to make sales for real estate firms. We're here to make sales for commercial real estate course creators. We're here to make sales. We are not here to say, hey, here's my bottle of air freshener. I got it 10% off. Get it at the link in the description. That is not what we're doing here. This is not the type of content marketing that a corporation pays for. And so there you see that you have a skills gap. There's a huge skill gap in the market right now, because people think that marketing automatically means affiliate, influencer marketing, be on social media all day marketing. There are different types of communications. There is PR, there's media relations, there's social media management, there's email marketing. But then aside from email marketing, there's SMS marketing, retention marketing. And aside from that, on the more corporate technical side, we have product marketing. We have technical manual guide writers. We have UX writers, UX designers. And so communications as a whole is a very broad term. Marketing as a whole is actually a very broad term. Now, you know that I'm at the intersection of email retention and AI analytics dashboard marketing. So I optimize and grow my clients' revenue guaranteed, provided that they meet so-and-so requirements. That's why I have an application process, so that I can verify that I would be able to grow their business. I think the worst thing about this knowledge gap that I'm seeing is it's worse than 2018 and 2020. So when the statistics literally say that Black households and Black-owned businesses will be out of business by 2050, and that on average, Black entrepreneurs are going out of business more than white entrepreneurs, I would dare to say it's not totally because systemic racism. It's not totally because of that. Part of it is the knowledge gap. There's a huge knowledge gap out here in which, and I'm gonna tell you a story to actually demonstrate it, because I was talking to a client 3 weeks ago. He's out in California. Now, he is not Black, he's white. He grew up, he had a dad that owned an life insurance brokerage. And so he grew up and he said, yeah, I would always see my dad because he loves the way I write. And he's like, how'd you have this love for writing? And I was telling him, as a child, I've just always had a natural knack, a talent, and a desire to write. And then I put that into business and consulting and see what it does. It creates empathy, it drives creativity, it boosts engagement, and it leads to sales when you put it with buyer psychology. So he was saying, yes, I've always loved writing and emails as well. You know, we built our entire business just on cold emails. So that means this man, he has built his entire marketing and cybersecurity firm. I need you to pick this up. Just on cold emailing. No social media, no Instagram, no Facebook. He's on LinkedIn. He barely posts on LinkedIn. Entirely through email marketing is how he builds his business. This is why I focus exclusively on email marketing. It's the easiest way to drive revenue for any company and any business that has a viable product. And so he's like, you know, as a child, my dad, he would have me send emails for him because that's how he would book clients. So I learned how to do cold pitching. And I would have those emails and I would have the contact base and then lead them to the warm contact base. Of course, it was much more manual back then. He probably had a notebook like this and he was writing the names down and had to follow up. But the gap that exists in the market is simply a communications gap, because a lot of these firms, they either receive or don't receive. He did not receive venture capital funding. He just did it all himself and he has built his business beautifully. A lot of these firms that see massive success to the point where you're like, what am I doing wrong? Is this even real? They understand strategic communications. It was funny on the call, he said, and I noticed this in the email, he spelled my name wrong. It had like 2 N's instead of just 1 N. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. He must have just written it by himself real quick. And on the phone, he says, yeah, I do that. Like I'll purposely misspell words so people know that I'm not just using AI for writing. And it was a funny moment. We laughed over it because I was just like, that's hilarious. You're purposely misspelling. But truly, when I looked at the email and my name was misspelled, I thought, oh, so he's literally texting me right now. And he just, like, it's actually him I'm speaking to. And it's weird that we've come to this place in the world, but these are some of the constraints that are needed around AI, because he knows, if you were paying attention, that I cannot make it seem like everything I write is AI written. Yes, their firm uses AI for analytics, for pattern analysis, for admin tasks, for reminders, for keeping everything organized. But if you take away the creative aspect of a business, the empathy, the storytelling, the judgment that only humans can do, you will not have a business. This is why firms are going out of business. While it looks like the venture capital people are making more and more money, and you're like, oh my gosh, the venture capital people, they're just like evil people. I'm sure some are, but at the same time, they also value humanity and creativity in a way that a lot of people just don't value. A lot of people, their first step is, let me outsource the main thing that makes me human, which is my voice. Your voice needs to be elevated. It needs to be brought to a more sophisticated market. Your voice does not need to be outsourced to AI, to Claude, to ChatGPT, to Anthropic, to whoever's AI. That is going to cripple trust. And once you create a cripple in your trust with your audience, they're never going to trust you, because we can see now, like if I see a caption that says, most people do X, Y, and Z wrong, and then it has like these 3 rhythmic words that come, and then there's no real storytelling. They're not even telling me about their behind the scenes. They're not telling me about their life. I'm like, okay, ChatGPT wrote that, delete. I'm not going to be on their list. I don't want to follow them. I don't want to hear it. It's crummy. It's low quality. And so after these 15 minutes, if you're like, sis, I'm starting to understand it, I do want to speak with you, but I want to get some more resources. I have blogs on these topics. I have white paper case studies that I send to my email list every single week. That's another topic. We're going to have to save that for another day, because that in itself is like, what are you willing to provide for your clients and prospects before they become clients to help them make a buying decision? A lot of people are not willing to write ebooks a couple of times a month and send them specifically to their email list. I'm a writer, so I love writing, so I'm always writing. A lot of people are not willing to do that. They want to do broadcast photography, and like my case study from my client from last week, which you can look at from the previous video, or I'll link it down below. It's the same thing she was speaking to with e-commerce. Like e-commerce, your goal is not to buy 50,000 bags of inventory and do 50,000 photo shoots. It feels productive to do photo shoots. It feels good. It feels fun. It feels like, oh, look, da 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 da. But really, you're just wasting money, because the only thing that can move the needle is strategic communications and sales. That's the only thing that can move the needle. Photos are cute. Revenue is better. Photos are fun. Revenue pays your bills and establishes your legacy. And so if you are of the mindset where you are at this crossroads, like, okay, I need to make a big decision to push my firm forward. The decision that needs to be made is, do I want to just sit here and look cute on social media, or do I want to drive revenue? Because they're 2 separate pathways, and either one is fine. It's not horrible to do photos. Just know the photos in themselves do not produce revenue. The only thing that drives revenue is strategic communications, the written word. The only thing, even for e-commerce. That's why I loved working with that business owner so much, who has a company in Brazil and Texas, because it was like, okay, even on the e-commerce side, people are saying that, because I'm more on the service provider side, tech, law, finance, real estate, service provider side, construction, architecture. But she's on the e-commerce where it's like fashion, hair care creams, lotions. And even she said it. She's like, a lot of these businesses, what they do wrong, they will spend tens and thousands of dollars on product shoots, and they don't have one signature product. They don't have one signature thing that they're known for, like a little bottle of lotion that they're known for. That's their most bought product, that they're using data analysis to say, okay, all of our clients buy this mostly, so let's just sell this one thing, only take pictures of this one thing, and then market the heck out of this one thing, then expand from there. It saves you tens of thousands of dollars. It saves you stress. It saves you energy. And in a time where a lot of people truly want to exit America, want to incorporate businesses abroad, these governments, they're looking at your portfolio. They're looking to see if you look legit. They're looking at your bank account statements from your business. And so if your business is not profitable, you as a CEO, you have to, as a founder, this is hard for people, you have to take accountability for that and say, okay, if the business isn't growing, I'm the only true bottleneck, whether you have a team or not. You as the founder, the entire liability of the business and the success of the business depends on you. So you have to make hard decisions. But they're not too hard. These are decisions that are actually really fun. These are decisions that make you a better salesperson. These are decisions that make you more revenue and drive annual reoccurring revenue, that drive better retainers, and that drive corporations to look at your LinkedIn and say, oh, this is somebody we can partner with because we see their results, we see their portfolio, we see their case study, and though it may be in a language that's a little bit too sophisticated for the current market, your current neighbors, your current people in your community, that sophisticated marketing is the only thing that's going to book corporate clients. See you next time. Tune into the next video. If you'd like to get in touch with me, check out the links in the description.